Few people know disappointment, loneliness, and confusion better than people with the disorganized attachment style. Hi, I'm Vassia, and I'm a relationship therapist. And today we're going to dig deeper into this not so widely talked attachment style, the disorganized. And the reason why we don't talk a lot about that because we think that it's a mixture of the anxious and the avoidant, but it's not that clear. Unlike the secure or the anxious or the avoidant attachment style, which have the most predictable behaviors, the disorganized attachment is characterized by a combination of conflicting responses. You don't know, not even the same person that experiences the disorganized attachment style, they don't even know what's about to come in their own emotional responses. And that's why we're going to talk about that today. Thank you very much for being here. It was one of your questions that you asked based on my previous video about the 4 attachment styles and the disorganized attachment style. And here it is for you. Individuals with disorganized attachment style, they may display really erratic and paradoxical behaviors. Like one day, maybe they will be clinging on their partner, and the other day, they might be pushing them away. One day, they might be seeking closeness and confirmation and security, and the other day, they might be seeking withdrawal and their personal space. So that creates a lot of confusion and unpredictability, both for themselves but also for their partners. Of course, disorganized attachment style reflects a lot, but usually it reflects unresolved trauma, a deep emotional wound that is stemming mainly from early childhood experiences. Yes, of course, it may be stemming from a relationship, a past relationship in our adult life, early adult life, but in the most cases, we're talking about childhood experiences. And usually our mind goes to childhood experiences where somebody has experienced abuse, emotional abuse or physical abuse. But that's not always the case. That's what we need to understand about disorganized attachment style. It doesn't need to be abusive. Also, an environment that is dismissive, neglecting, and unpredictable, uh, and any exposure to this frightening environment might be the source of this discomfort in this person. So let's go a little bit deeper about that. Um, when we're talking about early childhood experiences, let me give you an idea what might be the case. When we had a caregiver, a parent, for example, that one day they were open and loving and nurturing, and the other day, and completely out of the blue, maybe for them it made sense, but for you as a child, it didn't make sense. The other day, you are facing distance, coldness, neglect, hostility, or maybe one day when you are approaching your caregiver and you're asking for nurturance, they are there. And of course, they provide the affection and the validation that you want. But that's not for granted because the other day, and again out of the blue, you may seek for the same reassurance, emotional reassurance, and you might face dismissal. And that is when this profound sense of instability is being created, when our vulnerability is not met in the same stable way in all cases. So that's why we start with that. We want to understand this impact of these early experiences, and it's so important to recognize these unique challenges that we have gone through. The same way we are responding now as adults in our relationships. So the same way, one day we are available for our partner, and the other day we want them to take a step back. This is too much. We don't want to be too much connected. But also another thing that I have seen in the clients that I've been treating and the couples that I've been seeing in my practice, and that's something that I haven't seen so often in videos and articles about the disorganized, is that yes, the disorganized attachment style person might react either with too much dependency or too much distance, but also they thrive in the space between. Both of these spaces are scary. Not only they're afraid of the disconnection and the abandonment, but also they are afraid of the connection. Also, when there's too much love and romantic moments, something happens in them and they're scared. So they thrive in the space between means that they like the space when there's not too much going on, not too much love or too much connection, but also disconnection. Both of these spaces, as we say, they trigger something in them. So they prefer this neutral, let's say, space, as if they're holding their breath there, as if it's the survival. Of course, for their partner, that's not a space that they like. They want connection, they want things to happen in the relationship. They want action, they want proof of love and presence in the relationship. But for them, just being there, not being too lovey dovey, but also not being too distant is scary. They prefer this space. Of course, in a very unconscious way. Yeah? When we're talking about the fears of somebody with the disorganized attachment style, we're talking about two main fears: the fear of abandonment, but also the fear of intimacy, as I said before. On one hand, the source of abandonment can be as scary as the source of intimacy. They are afraid of both these things. And of course you can understand why, yeah? Because they have been with people that they showed them love and they took it away. And that registered in their brain as don't trust. Don't trust signs of connection. Don't trust signs of love, because without you knowing or without you understanding it when or how or why, it's going to be taken away from you. And that's why they're taking everything with a pinch of salt. Huh? The fear of abandonment, of course, stems from these patterns of unpredictability, as I was said before. And of course, there's fear of intimacy because they have shared their vulnerability and they have been dismissed because of that. And that hurts. And they remember, their brain remembers that hurt of betrayal. I've shared something very personal, my emotions, my emotional world, my feelings, my heart, and I was dismissed. And I don't want to go there again. So when we're talking about the unresolved needs, I mean, it makes perfect sense when we're talking about the need for safety, the need for security. They don't feel safe in relationships. And of course, it makes sense when you don't feel safe in a relationship when somebody is abusive or negative or aggressive, of course. But in this case, and that's why we're talking about a profound sense of insecurity and fear, is because also they don't trust somebody who is nice, caring, loving. And that's the confusion, insecurity and confusion. So because they grew up in this chaos, they are afraid that this might happen again in their relationships their adult life. And not only they long for safety, but also the challenge in people with this style is that they don't know how to bring safety. They don't know how to bring stability. How can you create something you've never been taught of? How can you create something that you don't know how it looks like? This is so difficult. And that's why they need external help. And either that's a securely attached partner, or, of course, professional help from a therapist, couple therapist, or trauma informed therapist. Another need that they often yearn for is the yearn for acceptance and validation, because their emotional needs were often dismissed and invalidated. And now they want somebody to accept their feelings, not their behavior. We're not talking about accepting aggressive behavior, but we're talking about accepting and listening empathetically their fears, understanding that, yeah, it makes sense why you don't trust me. I get it. How about we build that together? What would you want me to do so that you can start building that trust? These are the things that change the narrative. These are the things that they long for. They want to be themselves. They don't want to be ashamed anymore because they are in this confusing and stable state of emotional expression and emotional awareness. They want to be with somebody who knows about that, embraces that, and joins them in this healing journey. You're not broken. This is something, everybody has their own style, everybody has their own traumas. We're all working with something. And that's part of being in relationships. Our relationships are part of our healing journey. Thank you very much for being here today. Let me know your questions about this attachment style. Let me know questions that you have about how to practice letting go of control, how to practice mindfulness and compassion. Of course, there are going to be more videos following up, but I hope that this has been an important start, a good start for you in order to understand your attachment style, to explain it, but also to start your healing journey. Thank you very much. And until next time, take good care of yourself.